Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for the Tech Guy is provided by Cachefly. CACHEFLY.com. Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Radio Network on Saturday, April 21st, 2012. This is episode 867. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by BigCommerce. From web design to accounting to marketing, BigCommerce provides everything you need to run a successful online business. For a limited time, get a 30-day free trial to build a fully functional store. Go to BigCommerce.com, click the radio icon up at the upper right-hand corner, and type in my name, Leo. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. And it's time to talk computers, the internet, cell phones and camcorders, MP3 players, home theater. Actually, we're going to talk to Scott Wilkinson about half an hour from now, our home theater guru. And Scott, I should say, will be hosting the show next weekend. Because Monday I'm flying to Norway, to a little teeny-weeny town in kind of central West Norway called Kristiansund for the Nordic Light Photography Festival. I'm excited about that. They disclaimer, they're flying me out. We're going to do, I think we're going to do one of our photo shows out there. So they're flying me and the host of that show, Catherine Hall, out. And I can't wait. It should be a lot of fun. What else should we talk about? There's so many things going on in the world today, in the technology world. Of course, the regular world too. But this show, I think of it as a respite from political talk, as a respite from all the bad local news and national news. And think of it mostly as just, this is kind of the toy store. It's where we talk about the toys, the grown-up toys, although kids seem to like them too, that are changing our lives. And you know what's great about it? This stuff isn't trivial. It's not. We're not talking about Lego exclusively, although we might talk a little bit about that. We're talking about cell phones and computers and the internet, things that are changing the world. How we work, how we play, how we entertain ourselves, how we worship, how we communicate. Literally, how we communicate. So it's the toy store, but this stuff's fun and important. I like it. I like it. And then there's stories that would probably be a regular news story, but because there's a tech angle, it's interesting. Like the guy who dumb guy who... guy from Kentucky siphoned gas from a police car and then posted a photo of it on his Facebook page. Yeah. That's kind of like a regular story. This is what happens, 20 years old, not too bright. Wow. Apparently his girlfriend took the picture, including him giving the police the finger. Oh, insult to injury. Then posting it like an idiot on his Facebook page. That picture's gone from his Facebook page, but his latest status update is just got out of jail. Not too bright. So I guess we could all learn from this. If you're going to commit a crime, don't take a picture of it and post it on Facebook. And maybe it was maybe his girlfriend didn't like him too much. Maybe that's what it was. I had decided to buy a watch, but instead of doing the normal thing, go to a store and buy one. Nobody uses watches anymore. Everybody has a cell phone with more accurate time on it, right? But a watch is kind of a statement. What about a watch that could talk to your cell phone? Now, wouldn't that be interesting? A product design company called Pebble Technology in California is doing something on, you know what Kickstarter is? On Kickstarter. Kickstarter is kind of an interesting thing. It's a website. And what you do is if you want to raise money for a good idea, You go on Kickstarter and you say, here's my idea. You make a video. You say, here's my idea. I got this idea. And if you pledge money to me, I will make this thing if I get enough pledges and reward you. In this case, the Dream Team, they call themselves from Pebble Technology, had this idea that wouldn't it be cool if we made a watch that talked to a phone. It had e-ink. Maybe that would put text messages on the watch. Maybe it would allow you to use the watch as a remote control for your phone. Wouldn't that be cool? So they went on to Kickstarter with the Pebble e-paper watch. That's what they're calling for iPhone. And that was kind of one of the things that was unusual. They somehow got an arrangement with Apple and Android. And they asked for money. They said, if we raise $100,000 in a month, if we raise $100,000 in a month, we'll make this thing. And those of you who pledge $100, the first 200 people who pledge $100, will get the watch. And then once that fills up, then 115 and so forth. They were asking, they had, this started April 18th. It started a few days ago, asking $100,000. They've raised $5.7 million so far. It's the most successful project in the history of Kickstarter. They wanted $100,000. They got $5.7. Now, there's still 27 days to go. I confess, yes, I didn't get in the first 200, but I did actually order the watch because it's cool. It's cool looking, and it talks to an app on your phone, and it's cool. And it's also the most successful Kickstarter project of all time. They raised the first $1 million in 28 hours. They're now up to $5.7 million, and there's still room. Wow. It's changed really the way people do products. Used to be, in fact, we used to get calls from people say, I have this great idea. And all I need to do is hire a programmer or hire a product designer, design the product, find a factory in China to make the product, then find distribution, sell the product, and I could be a rich man. And, sometimes that does happen. But what we tell people is, I got this from Dick DiBartolo, who's been around for a long time, talks to gadget inventors all the time. He says, typically it's around $150,000 to get this watch to market, or whatever, to market. $150,000, and there's no guarantee that you'll make money, never. So this Kickstarter changes everything because you don't do anything except make a video and ask for money until you get enough money to do it. You kind of raise the money ahead of time. Of course, then you got to deliver. Now, I should warn you, it doesn't always work out. I have pledged some money to some interesting Kickstarter projects. There was one for some sort of dice for a game. It wasn't very much money. I don't remember. It was $10 or whatever. And I put money into. I still haven't seen those dice. So I guess there's no protection. I don't know if Kickstarter does anything to protect you. But it's, boy, that's really interesting that somebody can come along and say, I got a good idea, and raise $5.7 million, sight unseen, unknowns, out of nowhere. Wow. Now, you give them a credit card when you pledge, so they're going to get the money because you can't really, I guess you could back out of it. I don't know. Here's another, I don't know if this is a Kickstarter project. It was actually for an art exposition, but they might do it. Australian-based artists Gavin Bell, Jara de Kaiser, and Simon McGlynn wanted to create the scent of a new Apple computer. So they worked with Air Aroma, which is a scent marketing company, to create the scent of a new MacBook Pro. They're doing it for an art exhibit in Melbourne. It encompasses the smell, get this, of plastic wrapping, printed ink on cardboard, the smell of paper and plastic components within the box, and the aluminum laptop itself, which came straight from the factory where it was assembled in China. Not a simple project. They actually went to contract fragrance suppliers in the south of France for the fragrances of glue, plastic, rubber, and paper. They're going to, I guess, they should put this on Kickstarter, they may make some money. They're actually saying, well, it was for an art project, but so many people are interested, maybe we will make this ode to new MacBook. You could buy it in stores. 8888 Ask Leo, that's my number. I'm going to go to the phones right now. Now I will talk about, I have verified the deal with Big Commerce, and actually I encourage you to take advantage of it because it's going to change next week. What is Big Commerce? Let me show you. Big Commerce is a way that if you've got an idea for selling something online and you've been thinking, well, how? Even if you already have a website, Big Commerce enables online commerce. That's what it does. It's not just a shopping cart. I mean the whole deal. Web design, accounting, marketing. They'll help you set up the purchase features, the payment options. You don't need any technical skills. They've got great 24/7 customer support. And right now, and I mean for a limited time, so do it now, they've got a 30-day free trial to build a fully functional store. Everything they offer free for 30 days. That should be enough time. You see it says 15 days on the website, 30 days. No credit card required, but you've got to use our offer code LEO, okay? LEO when you set this up. 30 days should be enough. Oh, don't click that green button. Hear about us on a radio or podcast. Click that antenna button in the upper right-hand corner. That's where you put in LEO, and that's how you'll get the 30-day trial, all right? And what's nice about this, you get to really test your idea. You don't need to pay a penny. You don't need a credit card. Setup and support is free. Design is free. Drag and drop. It's easy to get started with a Big Commerce site, and they'll do the whole thing for you. So if you're like Mick the Wick in our chat room and you make candles, Mick, have you ever tried selling them online? Try it. They power over $700 million in customer sales all over the world, by the way. This isn't just U.S. I want you to try it right now. BigCommerce.com. Offer code LEO to try it free for 30 days. And don't delay, because this offer is changing. I happen to know. That's why I was a little worried. Next week.
You got a friend in me.
On Facebook.
You got a friend in me.
A really close friend.
When the road looks rough ahead.
Don't post that picture of yourself stealing gas from the police, because that's pretty much guaranteed to get you arrested. 8888. Ask Leo. That's the number, 888-827-5536. We got a webpage. Oh, wait till you see the new one. It's coming along. We probably have that new one up in about a month. Something like that. I would guess certainly by June 1st. I'm hoping maybe middle of May. You can see the old one, though, before it goes. And it looks like the old one, too. Let me tell you. Looks like somebody designed it in 1995. Leo.am is the short version. TechGuyLabs.com, the long version. Hey, it works. Don't knock it. At least it works. On there, you'll find the phone number, a link to our chat room, or a link to all our advertisers, and notes for each and every show, going back to the very first episode, 867 episodes ago, episode 1, which was January 2004. So there's 8 years worth of stuff. Careful what you call it. 8 years worth of stuff there. Junk. Including today's show, which our friend James DeRuvo is taking notes on and putting the stuff in there as he goes. Coming up at 33 after the hour, Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru. But first, to the phones we go. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the number. Dennis called from Oceanside, California. Hi, Dennis. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Happy Saturday, Leo. How are you doing?
I love the weekends. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's beautiful today. Clouds are just burning off, and it could be a nice day near the beach.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Same thing up here in Northern California. We're getting great weather.
Awesome. Love your show.
Which is why, by the way, I'm going to Norway on Monday, where it is about 40 degrees right now.
Yeah, that's not exactly my kind of weather. I kind of like 75 to 80.
It's not summer there yet, apparently.
Right,
oh,
right.
Boy.
Hey, the reason why I'm calling, this morning I wake up to the Northern San Diego County paper, and on the front page they have a side article that says, many at risk of losing internet. Hundreds of thousands of people must check their computers. the FBI safety net had set up some extra servers to pick up supposedly rogue malware that was going to take effect on July 9th of this year, causing people to not be able to get connected to the Internet. And the paper even includes a website to go to that supposedly you check your computer and see if it's infected.
What paper is this?
Can I say the name of the paper?
Yes.
North County Times.
What the heck?
And,
all right. What is the website that they tell people to go to? But folks, as you listen, do not go there. Go ahead. What is the website?
It is HTTP.
Yeah.
www.
Yeah.
D like Dave, C like Charlie, W like wagon, G like golf.org. www.dcwg.org.
Well, this does seem like a legitimate site, so yeah, you can go there. It's the DNS Changer Working Group. Protect your computer from DNS Changer.
Right, that's kind of what they explain, but I tried to do basically a Snopes and that type of thing. I was kind of shaky on whether or not even the article was true before I started even wanting to go to any website. So I really couldn't find any information on it this morning, so I thought I'd call you.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you did. It's not inaccurate. It's not inaccurate. Probably nothing to worry about. You know, what happens with this kind of stuff is we got till July, right?
Yeah, it says July 9th.
It's been discovered, so there's nothing really particularly to worry about. What will happen is well, first of all, you don't want to get malware on your system, so that's a bad idea, right? Right. Don't do it anyway. But by the time this happens, it won't work.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's not a bad idea. This is actually an okay site to go to. The malware.
So what the article says is that this it was out of the country.
I see what's going on. All right, yeah. So the
FBI had set up some temporary servers to.
I get what's happening. They're capturing the DNS that's been redirected.
Right, and they said they're going to shut those servers off.
I get it.
On July 9th.
Well, I guess this is legitimate. I mean, yeah. Okay, let me look at this. FBI.gov Operation GhostClick, they're calling this. This is actually the first I've heard about it, and as I look at it, it actually looks to be legitimate. So there's malware out there which will redirect your DNS, and DNS is how you look up. It's the phone book, the internet phone book. So imagine somebody snuck into your house and replaced your regular phone. Does anybody use a phone book anymore? Imagine 20 years ago when people still used phone books, and somebody snuck into your house and swapped out the phone book with one that, instead of putting the legitimate numbers in there, would call, let's say, a spammer every time you made a phone call. That's what this does.
Right. Okay.
So it's the DNS Changer malware. They say it's widespread. I don't know. The FBI has done something unprecedented, which is they have taken over those domain names, that the new ones, the illegitimate DNSs, and replaced them with real DNS servers. So, in fact, what will happen with this is it won't affect you. However, as you point out, in July, the FBI says, we're going to shut these down. We're tired of doing this.
Yeah, right.
So the FBI ordered the Internet Systems Consortium to deploy and maintain temporary clean DNS servers at the addresses that have been swapped in, but they'll be turned off on July 9th. And at that point, what will happen is no one knows. You may go to those original spam sites. Probably, so these... They were saying possibly with Internet Explorer, if people are using that, you might just get the 404, file not found. I wouldn't freak out. I think what I would say is... if you've got this, you've got bigger problems, and you should make sure you don't have malware on your system. Right, and I do that. I do run virus protection, and I do scans, and I do malware scans. So my system seems to be okay, but this is grotesque overreaction on the part of the federal government and the judge that ordered this. It's grotesque. It says 570,000 computers worldwide. But if you think about how many computers are worldwide, that's I'm sure a minuscule percentage of computers. It's nothing. This is not how you respond to virus infections. You do what I've been doing for 20 years. You tell people what to do not to get a virus. You've been doing that. You don't have a virus, I'm sure, Dennis. And then you tell people how to get rid of the viruses. You don't cover up the error and then say, oh, by the way, it's not going to work in July. Just bizarre, to say the least, bizarre. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not how you handle this stuff. So, it's Operation GhostClick. They arrested GhostClick. They arrested in November. They arrested 6 Estonians who created this malware.
What would be the purpose of doing that?
They put they want your web. Well, a couple of reasons people do malware. This one looks like they were trying to make a little money by getting your browser to go to their site. But there's worse things that they could do. For instance, they could have you go to an infected site, infect your computer, and then once they get the computers, there are all sorts of things like spreading spam. We're going to take a break. Scott Wilkinson coming up. We'll talk a little more about this later in the hour. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Scott Wilkinson is here, our home theater expert. He is the online editor of Home Theater Magazine, joins us every week. Next week, he's going to do the show Saturday and Sunday. Oh, wait a minute. I turned you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
Here I am. Yeah. I'm so looking forward to that. I appreciate the opportunity very much.
Well, we love it when you do it. You're just, it's... Don't do too well, okay? Just, do an average job would be fine.
I'll just do an average job.
I'll accept an average job. So Scott and I were at the National Association of Broadcasters show over the last few days, Monday through Thursday. Man. What a great show.
It was a great show. I heard a number of people say, oh, it's NAB. There's nothing special here. I couldn't disagree more.
Not so. Well, one of the things that's obvious is it's not about broadcasting.
Right.
They call it that because that's the name of the parent organization, the NAB. But, the truth is it's really for content creators of all stripes. Filmmakers. Yep. Absolutely. I mean, Ari's there. The big Ariflex cameras are there. Big jibs and booms and cranes. Television creators, of course. So there's like a little bit of radio. But even I think internet video creators would be interested in what is there.
Absolutely. Well, the cost of the products that people use to create content is coming down so drastically, so fast, that as you have often said, and one of the reasons I really appreciate what you do is, the democratization of creative content, of creative products allows just about anybody to become a TV station on the internet or a radio station or a podcast or whatever.
Exactly. It's two things, of course. It's the internet, which gives you free distribution or mostly free distribution. And it's then these low-cost things. I mean, we saw high-def cameras, amazing cameras, $2,500 for this Blackmagic cinema camera. It's a movie camera. You could use high-quality lenses. I mean, it's just amazing.
Amazing.
So there's all sorts of stuff. And, of course, Canon showed off its 1DC, which is its new high-end cinematographer DSLR, and then this
DSLR that shoots 4K video.
Yes, the C500.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable. Really great stuff. So I think that it was a lot of fun there. We didn't see any like new TV technology or anything like that.
Well, you know what? There was one product introduction that does have the potential to be a direct consumer display product, and it comes from all places from Red Digital Cinema.
Oh, they make those amazing. Rich, well, they were the first to make 4K, and then they made 5K cameras that are 5 times.
Yes.
Well, 2.5 times anyway, HD resolution.
HD resolution. And a lot of people are using them. Peter Jackson is using it on The Hobbit.
He's got 50 of them.
Yeah. And he's using them in pairs, of course, for 3D. But it is a very well-known, very well-respected, widely used digital cinema camera. Well, the most interesting thing at that booth for me this year was they're coming out with a new projector, a video projector that will in fact be available to consumers.
So we'll have 4K projector in our house?
4K 3D. Dig this. I know you're not that interested in 3D, but
it's funny. I got spanked by a guy who specializes. Well, now I got to say, first of all, this guy is a neuroscientist. He was at Harvard. and was an expert in colorizing imaging and got hired by Turner to colorize all the Turner movies. Remember when they took all those black and white movies and made them color? I said, well,
yeah.
You're not winning any friends by doing that. And then he moved to 3D, and he specializes both in converting to 3D and making new 3D movies. And he says he's been listening to the show. He's probably listening right now. And he says, I'm going to turn you around. So we had a little debate. I think we're going to have a debate on the radio show at some point.
Wow. Well, I'd like to talk to him. Maybe if he's a color scientist type guy, get him on my podcast.
Yeah, he'd be great for your show. I'll get you the information.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing, it shows 3D. It has dual imagers, so it shows each eye gets 4K resolution simultaneously with passive glasses, which means you get more light into your eye, which is a good thing. It's illuminated not by lamps, not by LEDs, but by lasers.
Oh, well, that's always good. Anytime you can use lasers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the package, when you buy it, includes a 4K player, essentially a hard disk based
It'd
server.
have to, because there's no other way to do it.
Exactly. But dig this. Red has developed a compression algorithm to send 4K 3D to the projector at 20 megabits per second. That's less than the bandwidth required by Blu-ray. Which is
it going to look good?
Well, we saw a demo that it looked very good in many respects. It didn't have the blacks or the contrast that I wanted to see, but then they were still tweaking it. The Ridley Scott's son, Luke Scott, made a movie that they showed at the show on this projector, and it wasn't the best demo material, unfortunately, for one thing. And for another thing, it was a prototype. It wasn't quite tweaked out yet.
I kept trying to get into that demo.
You couldn't get in?
It was long lines.
It was the longest line at the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was like going to the Hunger Games or something.
Yeah, right.
I mean, there were long lines.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I wish I'd known. So there's no point in asking, but I'm going to anyway. How much is this going to cost?
Dig this. You get the projector, the one laser module, which provides the light, and the player, $10,000.
Wow.
Which is really not bad.
Now, I'm not going to go out and write a check for that, but that means in a few years, half that.
Yes.
Or a quarter of that.
Exactly right.
That's $10,000 is surprising. That does sound awfully low.
It does to me, too. And the one laser mod, the really cool thing is you can add other laser modules if you need more light. So you can gang them up and basically illuminate a larger screen. With one, you can get a screen up to 12 feet wide, which is plenty for virtually all home theaters. And that's what's going to cost you $10,000. If you want to add more laser modules, then it'll start costing you more for a commercial venue, a big 20, 30-foot screen.
Another thing we saw there, Christie, who also makes very good DLP projectors, had a demo which I couldn't get into either because it was booked solid.
I got into that too.
High frame rate 4K video.
Incredible.
So now this is kind of interesting because James Cameron, who speaks every year at the Cameron Pace Company, he's promoting something he calls 5D, which is 3D. Movies should be made this way, he says. 3D, 4K, which is, again, double the width and double the height of high def, so it's 4 times more resolution, and high frame rates. Instead of 24, which is standard for film, or 30, which is standard for video, we're talking 48 or 60 or even more frames per second.
Correct. This demo was astonishing. It was really great. He basically they put together a bunch of clips. They shot a bunch of clips specifically at 24 and 30. I'm sorry, 24, 48, and 60, and they played them one after the other. And James Cameron himself did the voiceover, saying, "Okay, now look here, look for this, look for that," and the higher and then they played them at the same rate that they shot them. So if they shot it at 24, they played it back at 24.
What is it? We're running out of time. But what is the benefit of a high frame rate?
You get much sharper motion detail, much less fuzziness as a camera pans across a scene or an object moves across the field of view.
Wow.
It becomes very super sharp. It almost looks like video. It doesn't look so much like film, but we're so used to film looking fuzzy when things are moving. I'm all for looking sharper and not looking like traditional film, only because that's the way it's looked for 100 years.
It looks like reality is what it looks like. That's why I like 4K. Well, I'm excited about it. You can leave off the 3D for me, but 4K and high frame rate, boy, that makes a big difference. Scott Wilkinson, he's the editor, online editor for Home Theater Magazine at hometheater.com. and joins us every week. Next weekend, you got them all day, so make sure you tune in. Thank you, Scott.
You bet.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. Scott Wilkinson's guest on Home Theater Geeks, his podcast that he does for us every Monday. I can't wait. The guy who did sound for The Hunger Games and many other great Hollywood movies, Lon Bender, will be his guest. 1:30 Monday, Pacific time, 4:30 Eastern. You can watch live at twit.tv or subscribe and get the show and every show he does, because they're great. After the fact at twit.tv. The show is called Home Theater Geeks. You want to go directly there? We'll put a link in the show notes. techguylabs.com. So I've been doing a little more research on this FBI thing. I don't know why this bothers me so much. It just does. This operation, what is it, Ghost Recon? I don't know. It's just... It just doesn't seem like that's the way to handle it. The FBI discovered, well, I don't know, actually probably wasn't the FBI. These crooks were in Estonia. The FBI doesn't work outside of the U.S. So last year, some bad guys were arrested in Estonia. They had put out some malware called DNS Changer, which had been around for ages. It's literally been around for 4 or 5 years. And what DNS Changer does, if you get infected, which you should not, but if you get infected, is it changes how your computer looks up internet addresses. When you enter in techguylabs.com or any other internet address on your computer, the computer can't go to that by name any more than you can dial a phone by Leo Laporte. You have to look in the phone book for who Leo Laporte, what Leo Laporte's unique one and only number is. Same thing with DNS. It looks up the unique one and only internet address for the site you want to go to. That's called the Domain Name System, or DNS. The Domain Name System requires special servers. There are 13 of them spread out all over the world, the root servers that contain this phone book. And then your internet service provider and others make copies of this phone book. Your computer even makes copies of sites as you go visit them. So when you enter into a browser, techguylabs.com, first thing your browser does is say, do I know this? Do I know the number for this? It may well have it stored already on your computer. It'll look in a file called hosts, for instance. It'll also look in the cache memory. If it doesn't find it, then it goes to the internet service provider's domain name servers. You've got those already set up in your computer. In fact, if you look at your network settings, you'll see settings for DNS servers. Usually there's a couple. And then after that, it will go and, if it doesn't find them there, the internet service provider will request the record all the way up to those 13 top-level domain servers. And it works quite well. However, this bad stuff, this malware, gets on your system and changes how that works. Instead of it changes your DNS server. So instead of going to the internet service provider's DNS server, your legitimate DNS server, it goes to the bad guy's DNS server. And as a result, you get sent to a site that you don't want to go to. Probably a spam site. So there is a website you can go to find out more about this. The DCWG. The DCWG. This is not a major outbreak. 350,000 devices are still out there with DNS Changer on them. That's fewer than have the Macs that have the malware, flashback malware. That's far fewer than most virus infections. This is actually a fairly minor virus infection. FBI got a court order to change the malware address to take over the DNS server. So you may have this malware and not know anything about it. That's nice. It's called Operation GhostClick. And so instead of encouraging people to fix their computers, they just changed the DNS server that it points to point to a server run by the FBI. I don't like that idea at all. And now they're telling you July 9th we're going to turn those servers off, so I guess you better fix it, which you should have done in the first place. Okay, I'm sorry. So if you go to dcwg.org, they'll tell you how you can figure this out. if your computer has been violated and infected with DNS changer, it's actually very easy to fix. It's kind of trivial to fix. You just look at your DNS settings. You'll know if you've got it because you'll be pointing to somewhere besides the right spot. But they explain everything here. There's far worse malware out there. There's a lot more of it out there. There's tens of thousands of viruses out there. I'm not sure why they decided to target this one. It's not even the most dangerous thing I've ever heard of. And now we got to do something because there's going to be a blackout for the few 100,000 of you. Very small number, by the way. Worldwide, very small number. The few 100,000 of you who haven't solved this. So what's my advice? My advice is figure out if you have any malware on your system. You know, this is not the worst thing that ever happened. This is a minor malware. There's far worse. You should be always running some good antivirus software. You should be prudent about the kinds of software you install on your system. If you have Windows, which I'm sure this mostly infects. In fact, I don't know of any Macintosh infections at all. If you have Windows, then you should be doing your Windows updates, right, every second Tuesday of the month. When you do that, Microsoft puts something on your system and updates it called a malicious software removal tool. You can run that. That'll find DNS changer. You can run any decent antivirus. Microsoft has a free antivirus if you're too cheap to buy one at Microsoft.com/security essentials. That'll discover it. This is the advice the FBI should be giving out. Not, oh, we'll fix it for you without telling you. And, oh, by the way, your computer's going to break on July. That's boneheaded. Listen to me, not the FBI. And I hate to say that because who am I? But in this case, this is just boneheaded. Fix the problem. Don't just fix your DNS settings. In fact, the chances are anybody who's got this malware on their system has lots of other malware on their system. Download Microsoft Security Essentials or buy a good antivirus. I'm going to tell you about one in just a little bit. Don't wait until July 9th. Oh, this is so ridiculous. So ridiculous. And, you know, it's just obviously there's more going on than meets the eye here. This is the, I would say, very likely the first step in a kind of government-wide protect people against malware initiative. It's just, I would guess, just the beginning. At its peak, 4 million machines had DNS changer. We're down to maybe 500,000 in the U.S. We're down to maybe just a few 100,000 at this point. So it's really pointless for me to say look for DNS changer. What you should be doing is looking for malware in general. There's just so many things wrong with this. 88. All right. I'm sorry. I don't listen to the FBI. They're nice guys. But in this case, there'd be better things to do than just fixing DNS changer. Hey, Paul in Arizona, Leo Laporte. Paul, hang on. We got to take a break for your news at the top of the hour. But you're going to be next. And I can help you, I think, with that dead memory card. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo's the number. If you got a question about technology, boy, we got a lot of people who can answer it, including me. I'll do my best. And then if I fail you, well, we've got a chat room full of 1,000 people. We've got a great community of tech heroes. They're all waiting for you at 8888 Ask Leo. Now, Paul, you've been very patient. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo. Hey, I actually met you at CES a year ago, January, and you're a real nice guy, so I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you.
I just came back from my vacation there in February, and I have a memory card that is I had some nice photos on it, and I put it in my computer, and I looked at them, and then I was going to make a copy of them, copy them to my computer. After a few minutes, I was on Skype or whatever, and I came back, and it wasn't showing that it was reading on my drive anymore. So I went to pull the card out to see if maybe I didn't have it in right, and it was real hot. And now I can't get it to read at all. And I downloaded a what do you call it, like a card recovery, one of those software. And that said it couldn't read the drive either, and I'm just having trouble.
So, so flash memory, you know, SD cards, compact flash, that kind of thing, they're all the same. They're really essentially hard drives. They're viewed by the camera, by the computer as a hard drive. And so the recovery process is exactly the same as it would be on a hard drive. Now, if the card is so damaged that it can't be mounted, it can't be recovered. It's a physical failure that of the controller on the card, then you can't. Then you're out of luck. What does often happen with camera memory is some of the cells die. Perhaps the memory cells that had the table of contents on there, the file allocation table. If those die, then the card appears empty or appears damaged and corrupted, but can be repaired by file recovery utilities. And I'm going to recommend one that's free. That unfortunately, if you search for this on the internet, you'll find a bunch of them. Most of them, what they'll do is you install them for, quote, free. They say, yeah, I can see it, hand over $50. And I don't consider that a really very nice thing to do. There's a company that called EASE US, that makes a lot of really great free stuff, including a memory card recovery program. That's just really fantastic. It's called EaseUS Data Recovery Free, Wizard Free Edition, EASEUS.com. And ease, like taking the easy way out, EASEUS.com. Okay. And it's called the Data Recovery Wizard. And if anything can recover data from that card, it can. But I think it sounds like, I mean, I would try it, but it sounds like that maybe there's a physical failure on the card. The card, just like a regular, hard drive, has a controller, and if that controller's dead, then you can't really access. You can't mount the card, you can't access it.
Yeah. Well, I've never had anything like this happen before, and I've really tried a lot, and that's my guess is it's a physical failure. Once it is a physical failure, then it's hopeless. There's no place you could send it in or anything like that.
Who makes the card?
Yeah, just like
who makes the card?
Oh, it's SanDisk.
SanDisk, yeah. SanDisk also has a free utility. You might try the SanDisk utility, just in case it's something the SanDisk utility knows about. But no, they, maybe they could say, I shouldn't say that. You can recover it at great cost, just as you would a failed hard drive. I think the folks I usually send people to a place called Drive Savers. I think they will do it if it can be done. Because what they'll do is they'll disassemble. Let me see if they do flash memory. Yeah, they do SSDs. Yeah, they do. So they can recover digital camera card recovery, but it's not cheap. Because now what they're doing is they're taking the card apart and replacing the physical controller. It won't be as expensive as a hard drive because they don't have to, you can call them, drivesavers.com.
Okay.
You can call them. They'll let you know how much it costs. It's going to be cheaper than fixing a hard drive because they don't have to do it in a clean room and all that.
Yeah. But is it getting real hot like that and no other one did it? I guess that would say...
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. The card might have gotten hot. Who knows what was the camera? Who knows? I don't know if you can really tell. What I would do is I would get a different reader, just in case it's the reader. I would get the SanDisk utility at sandisk.com. Try that. You might try the EaseUS utility. If neither of them work, then I'd call Drive Savers if you really want to get it back. It may not, it's thousands of dollars to recover a dead hard drive. It may not be so expensive to recover dead flash memory. They don't have to do the same kinds of things to it. Just depends on how much you want those pictures. So, and by the way, when I go to Norway, I'm going to be taking a lot of pictures because I'm going to a photo festival. And the way I do that is I bring multiple cards. I don't bring giant cards because I want to encourage myself to take the pictures off the card. So I usually use 8 or 16 gig flash cards. At the end of the day, I will take everything off those flash cards and back them up not only to my computer but to 2 external hard drives. Essentially what I do is I copy everything off the card to 1 external hard drive, import it into Lightroom, which is a program I use to manage my photos, and then I sync the first external drive with a second drive. When I'm coming home, I keep one in my luggage, checked luggage, and one in my carry-on, as separate as possible. If you really cared, you might also, if you've got internet access, upload them to a site like SmugMug or Flickr or something like that. That's how you protect yourself. But the real key, the real starting point is not putting too much on a single card, not relying too much on a single card, because cards do fail. Cards do fail, just like a hard drive. Usually what fails is one or two memory cells, and that means they're still recoverable. But if there's a more comprehensive failure, as I think happened here, then it's going to take a little bit more to get it back. Marty, Hanford, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Marty.
Hi, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. You know, the newer, faster, better high-end DSLRs, for instance, the new Canon 5D Mark III, has 2 card slots, and you can set it up so that it makes a copy of each photo on both cards. If you're shooting weddings or something where you're not going to have a second chance, that's something pros do often, is they actually record the picture twice on 2 different cards. I'm sorry, just had a thought there. What can I do for you, Marty?
Yeah, Leo, about a month ago when I first started listening to you, you briefly talked about Bluetooth. You said something about the Q1, and I was just wondering what your top Bluetooth headset.
That's the Q1 is from BlueAnt. I do like that one a lot. I like Plantronics a lot as well. A lot of people love that Jawbone. That's a good one too. The good news is you can get an excellent Bluetooth headset nowadays for $50. You don't have to spend $150.
Right.
Do you have one now?
You know, I don't have one now. I just use my iPhone headset. I've been wanting to get a new one, and you had said something about the Q1, and I just I just wondered what you recommended.
The reason I like the Q1, it's from a company called BlueAnt. The reason I like BlueAnt stuff is, in this case, BlueAnt, it's myblueant.com. In this case, the Q2 is now the latest one, just superseded the Q1. The reason I like it is because it talks you through the setup. And it has the address book into it, so you have an iPhone, it'll download the address book, so it'll say, hey, Leo's calling, or whatever. I kind of like that. But the truth is, they all sound equally bad or good. Bluetooth is a little thin. I do what you do. I actually use wired headphones. I use kind of more expensive ones from Etymotics. But the nice thing about wired, it never drop out. The quality is as good as it's going to get. So I have about 15 of these Bluetooth headsets. I don't use them. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Everybody now, all together. I like this song. Greatest American hero. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Who could it be? 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number if you've got a question, a comment, a suggestion. Kenny's on the line in beautiful Arizona. Hi, Kenny.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm great. You just moved from Rhode Island, huh?
Yes, sir. I moved from Warwick, Rhode Island, about a month ago.
I grew up in Providence,
Oh, yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So did I.
Yeah, I think I knew you.
I was there basically my whole life.
Yeah, you sound just like another Kenny I know. So,
we were neighbors.
Yeah, so you like the weather in Arizona better?
Oh, well, I'm tired of shoveling snow, and last year we had not last year, the year before, we had the winter of all winters, so decided to make a move out to Arizona. The heat is different, but...
yeah, wait till the summer hits, and then you tell me, okay?
Well, we bought the house last year, and we were here through the
all right, so you've been through a summer. You can handle it.
Yes.
You get enough ice in your veins. Nice hot weather is not a bad thing. I know how you feel.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. My problem has been, since we've relocated from Rhode Island and moved to Arizona, we have had problems with our cell phone service.
Who's your carrier? Who's your carrier?
Which is Sprint. Sprint.
And where are you in Arizona? What town are you in?
It's called Buckeye. We're right at the bottom of the White Tank Mountains.
How nice. now you're living.
So
However, I would guess, and I'm going to look at the coverage maps here, but I would guess that the problem is that Sprint just doesn't have good coverage near Buckeye.
Well, according to Sprint, there's no problem.
Yeah, right, sure. Except that you live there and you know.
Exactly. And actually, people in the area have told us this. I mean, this is without saying anything. Well, who do you have? Sprint. Okay, well,
there you go.
It's not going to work here. It's going to work.
Well, sorry,
so I got on the
Sprint.
phone with Sprint.
They
don't find anything wrong. I've contacted the Better Business Bureau.
Oh, you want to get out of your contract?
Yeah, because it's not working. Not only here, Leo. It seems to calls drop. We've missed calls.
So I would suggest escalating it because there's going to be somebody at Sprint who will help you.
Well, so far I've gone. See, they didn't really respond until the Better Business Bureau contacted them.
Yeah.
So now I've gotten a couple of calls, but they're still reporting that we can't do anything for you because the first supervisor I spoke to said, "Well, you got your phones at a discounted price, so therefore we can't let you out of the contract."
Jerks.
And then the next person says, "Well, we don't see any issue."
Jerks.
And I'm telling her that I'm getting voicemails a week later.
Jerks.
We're getting, we're getting quality of calls. Service calls are horrible. Everybody's saying, "I can't hear you. I have to walk down the street inside of my house to get coverage at times. It's ridiculous."
So there's a great website called The Consumerist. And our chat room is giving me a link to an article they wrote a couple of years ago, thank you, Slayer Dork, called Reach Executive Customer Service for Sprint, Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. And this is what you want. You want to, and by the way, tell them, hey, I just called a national radio show about this, and the host, Leo, told me to call you. That'll get some action going. Now, read this article. I'm going to put a link in our show notes at techguylabs.com because it explains what it is. Basically, the office of the chief executive in almost every company, there's an office of the chief executive that handles complaints that are aimed to the chief executive. You're not going to get them by going to the tech support guy, the support call, or even the supervisor. So they do have a whole thing on tips. I'm going to give you the number for Sprint. It's 703-
Okay.
433-4401. Okay, now that's from a couple of years ago, so it may, I bet you they changed this number. So if it doesn't work, you might say, hey, what is the number for executive customer service? But 703-433-4401. And then you want to be very polite. You want to be, because basically what you're getting is the CEO's assistant. Okay. And you say, I want to speak to Dan Hesse, who's the CEO of Sprint. I just got off the national radio show with Leo Laporte, and he told me to call Dan.
Okay.
Seriously, and don't laugh when you say it.
Well,
and I'll tell you what, I guarantee you.
I contacted a local radio or local TV station here, and they're in the process of trying to investigate this also, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that has this problem in this area.
It's appalling. It's ridiculous. And I'll tell you what, they just got a big black eye for it. A million people are listening, and you just gave them a big black eye.
Well, thank you, Leo, for your help.
All right, and I'm going to put a link, and James, put a link to these articles from the Consumerist in the show notes, because that's a great thing to have there for future reference, not just for Sprint, but for the other cell phone companies. And I truthfully cannot. Oh, here we go. Thank you, David. David Bix made us a special short URL, bit.ly/cellexec, CELLEXEC. And then, Kenny, you call back. Or you email me, leo@leoville.com, and we'll let everybody know how well Sprint did on this. Because you know what? If you're not getting coverage or your neighbors aren't getting coverage, I don't care what their coverage map says. It ain't working. And they can't hold you to these early termination fees if they cannot provide service where you live. Sorry, that's just the fact. And I think they'll make it right. It's funny. I was a Sprint customer for many years and left them maybe 10 years ago because of bad customer service. Since then, I've had several Sprint phones. I have a Galaxy 2S S2 now that I like from Sprint, and they're much better than they used to be. Everybody has to be. It's gotten more competitive, and Sprint is not number one. They're not number two. They're barely number three. They need to try a little bit harder, don't you think? David in Michigan. Actually, hang on, David, because I only have 60 seconds left, so I'll have you next. He says, how can I make a local Wi-Fi network in my house if I don't have internet? This might be a short answer. Well, now let me think. Now, you could do a Wi-Fi network without internet, couldn't you? Sure you could. We'll talk about that. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but we'll talk about that. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the number. And the website is techguylabs.com. This actually is probably a good time to be a Sprint or a T-Mobile customer because these companies, especially T-Mobile, they're just hurting. AT&T and Verizon are eating their lunch. And because T-Mobile doesn't have an iPhone, they're the only carrier now in the U.S. that doesn't have an iPhone, doesn't have an LTE high-speed network. They're really hurting. They're really hurting. So I think what's good is that both Sprint and T-Mobile are going to start offering, I think, much more aggressive pricing. They've got to. 8888 Ask Leo. I am Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Cell Extreme. Kyle Benham, my musical director and board op. Hey, Kyle, have you got your website up now for your big job search?
I do. It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. I'm not going to judge you. I have a junky website, too. It's okay. What's the address, Kyle?
But it's simple. Add Kyle.
ADKYLE?
You got it.
No, it's an ad for Kyle.
Yep.
Adkyle.com?
That's it.
Oh, there it is. Look at that. Help Kyle get a job. Actually, Kyle is really much too good to be doing what he's doing. He's got his own business that he does, which is really cool. He's got these helicopters back east that they look like UFOs. They've got messages on the bottom of them, and people can hire them, for ball games and stuff like that. But we're going to lose him because he's working weekends here doing this show, and we got to get him a full-time job. Otherwise, he has to go back to ads in the sky. So if you are in the Los Angeles area and you can hire a smart guy, really, really great guy. I'm very happy with Kyle. I don't want to lose him. I don't want him to move away. Please do me a favor. Add Kyle. ADKYLE.com. Your dog looks like this dog in that movie. Looks like Rango.
Bolt dog.
Or Bolt. That's what he looks like. Bolt. Wow. Go see that just for the dog. Add Kyle. ADKYLE.com. He looks just like Bolt. How'd you do that? We brought his site down. Oh. Oh, gee. 8888 Ask Leo. Now, let's see. I'm curious what's going on here with David in Michigan. He wants Wi-Fi, but he doesn't want the internet. Hi, David.
Hi.
I understand why. A lot of things use Wi-Fi now. Right?
Well, so in the area I'm in a rural area, and we can't get internet where we are. We only have dial-up.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but what I really want Wi-Fi for is I have an iPod and a Mac.
Yeah, you want to use AirPlay. Sure.
And I want to use it as a remote. And also I use the Wi-Fi for file sharing between my mom's laptop and the computer.
And in fact, you absolutely can do this with any Wi-Fi router. This is just a wireless network.
Yeah. Anyways, the problem is, so I was able to do this with Snow Leopard. I just turned on internet sharing.
Yeah.
And I told it to share from my USB modem.
Right. So you turned that computer, in effect, into a wireless network.
A router.
Right.
Yeah. But now with Lion, it got too smart, the operating system. And when my modem is not connected, the wireless goes down. And so it only is the internet's only up when it's actually connected.
That's
and it
too
disconnects
bad.
when I disconnect, and so
yeah. Is this a laptop or a desktop? What is this computer?
It's a desktop.
Okay. So you want to essentially do what's called an ad hoc Wi-Fi
network. I was wondering if there's any third-party software, maybe Apple script, I could run to make it turn on, because there's also the computer-to-computer networks. I can turn that on, but as soon as I turn the computer off,
it works.
The network goes away.
It works. It's just Apple's changed it a little bit. They call it AirDrop. It's Apple. It uses AirDrop. So now, let me see here.
Well, I can use AirDrop only if I have
Wi-Fi has to be on, right? Well, yeah, you could, and Bill in Michigan is suggesting spend $20 on a Wi-Fi router and do this. But since you already have, you should be able to set up the ad hoc network. I'm not sure why Lion drops Wi-Fi every time you sign off your dial-up. That's really...
Well, from what I've figured out, my theory is that when it decides to be smart and like normal people, when they want to share their internet, once they unplug it, they don't want to have to turn off the internet sharing. It'll just turn itself off all by itself.
Yeah. Seems inappropriate.
So, that'd be great, but I've been using it a little differently, so...
I'm sure there's a solution here. I think there's almost certainly a setting in here. There is Web 7354 is giving me a Keep Alive script, which is a little bash script that can run in the background that will keep your wireless going. That'll get you going at least temporarily. It seems like there should be a better way to do this. But anyway, I'll give you the link. It's in the show notes, techguylabs.com. And I'm going to keep thinking about this. What you want to do is set up ad hoc networking, not internet connection sharing. And I think that's the problem, is you're using internet connection sharing instead of ad hoc networking. I'm sure you can do this. I'm not sure why the airport is dropping it. I'll check. Keep listening. We'll find a solution, David. I'm watching the chat room to see if they have anything to say. And they do. And they do. Sean is in Atlanta. He's our next caller. Hi, Sean. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Thank you for taking my call. And I have a similar issue, I guess, as the last caller, except I do want internet service. I'm hopefully moving into a new home next week.
Yay.
And there's high-speed internet available outside of using satellite or one of the cell phone providers' hotspots, or using my phone as a hotspot. But the problem with that is there's limited amount of data that those plans give you, and we would need at least, we're with Comcast now, I think we have like 250 gigabytes.
250 gigs is a lot more than any cellular carrier will give you.
Yes. So
and they'll give it to you. They'll just charge you, about $10 a gigabyte.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So 200 gigabytes a month, you're talking $2,000 a month. That's a little pricey.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little pricey.
Yes. So just wanted to see if there were any other options that maybe you could tell me about that might help
besides getting Comcast.
Yeah, well, I would get Comcast, but they are just they're not in the area. We've got an AT&T phone that we're going to have, but I guess
there's no cable television. There's no cable television in that house.
No cable television.
Right. So you'll be using probably what AT&T offers, or another company like DSL Extreme offers on top of AT&T. It's called DSL. Not quite as fast, but it's It's pretty fast, depending on how. Are you in the country, or are you near a city?
Pretty near a city, and it's the funny thing. The subdivision across the street from us, they have high-speed internet. We just can't get it because I spoke with the AT&T person, and he says there's just not any slots I guess, available in my area, so we can get phone service from AT&T, but not DSL.
Call DSL Extreme anyway. Just see, because that's ridiculous. Slots. There's no slots left in the area. 866, the number 2, GetNet. I bet you they can help you. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo. So I'm just looking. It's pretty straightforward to create what's called an ad hoc network. There's two kinds of Wi-Fi networks. There's infrastructure, which uses a Wi-Fi access spot. You know, a router, an airport, or a D-Link or a Netgear or Linksys Wi-Fi router. That's called infrastructure. And then there's one called ad hoc, which is kind of cool. It doesn't require an access point. Your computer becomes an access point, whether or not, and this is the important point, you have internet access. It shouldn't require internet access. So if you have a Mac, it's very easy to do. You make sure Wi-Fi is turned on, and under that Wi-Fi menu, you'll see a create network entry right at the bottom. This creates what they call a computer-to-computer network. I call it an ad hoc network. Now, I've seen some things say turn on WEP, and you do have a choice of network security. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. You don't have to. Maybe if you turn on WEP, that'll keep it alive. It's not going to give you much security, but that's not really an issue. I think this should work. Now, what I guess our caller was saying is that, I presume, I didn't ask him, he's done this, but that when he gets online, maybe he's using internet connection sharing. That's something different. Kind of the same, but kind of different. Where he's online, he's got the modem dialed up, and he's talking online and stuff. And he says, and it disconnects the rest of the computers once he hangs up. That would be internet connection sharing. So try doing the ad hoc network from the airport menu on your Macintosh. Say create network. Name it what you want. I turn on WEP. Why not? Gives you a little bit of security, not much, but a little bit. And then just leave it going. See if that works. Steve in Nashville, Tennessee. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well.
Long-time listener.
Thank you.
And don't know if you remember me, Tech TV and station here. Got a question for you. I have an iPhone and an iPad, and I downloaded a program a friend of mine told me about called Papaya Broadcaster, and it allows you to stream MP3 or Vorbis to a Shoutcast or Icecast server.
Oh, that's neat.
And, yeah, it is. But the problem is, of course, with the iPhone, the input, you can either use the internal microphone or the input jack on the top, but it's mono. And I want to do stereo. Your conversation last weekend.
That's interesting. So you can't just play music on the iPhone. You have to put music into the iPhone for it to rebroadcast.
I assume so. I haven't tried the music thing. I'm interested in doing live, like line-in audio. I want to do live.
Got it.
Yeah. So,
what you need is the microphone on the top of the iPhone is a mono input, but there's the 30-pin port on the bottom.
Exactly.
And
but I need a box that will do that.
Right.
But your conversation last weekend about the Audio-Technica microphone, which I ordered, it'll be here Monday, and I have the camera kit, but of course the camera kit with the USB, it does not work on the iPhone, only the iPad.
Only the iPad.
That's right.
So there are microphones designed. What happened is Apple changed this 30-pin connector. It used to have an analog connection, and now it's all digital. So you need something that is going to give you all digital, or convert your stereo input into digital. Can you use a stereo microphone? Would that work for you, or does it have to be it has to be line level?
Well, I would like line level because I'm going to be using external mixer with it and all that.
I just ordered a microphone called the Apogee.
Oh, I heard you talk about that. Pricey mic.
It's almost $200, apogeedigital.com. But the idea of the Apogee is it does support digital. It's a digital-in mic, and it has, in fact, a 30-pin connector coming off of it. Let me just see if it has No, it'd be great if it had a line in on the mic.
Line in, yeah, stereo line in.
That would solve it, but apparently it is just pure mic. It doesn't do anything else.
Yeah,
and,
the Audio-Technica should do well. Of course, the Audio-Technica won't work with the iPhone.
You need a digital converter, see, and that's the problem.
Exactly.
I don't. So I don't know. We're looking for, maybe somebody in the chat room can know or find a digital connection. It has to use the 30-pin connection to the iPhone, and it has to be digital. That will give me a connector for line in.
Line in, stereo line in.
Stereo line in.
Yeah, because I have the iPad and I can do it on that. Obviously, that's no big deal. But I'd like to use the iPhone. It's a lot smaller. Of course, have it on Wi-Fi. And I have the iPhone 4, but it's updated iOS 5.1.
Well, that's the problem is, on previous iPhones, you didn't need anything special. So there are a lot. It's actually a little confusing. There are a lot of mics that say, we work fine with the iPhone. Unless it's the iPhone 4, 4S, then they won't. Yeah, so let me just see here. We're getting from the chat room some links. Daniel T. has given us a link to the Tascam IM2 channel portable digital recorder, powered through the dock connector, adjustable stereo microphones, built-in analog to digital converter, and microphone preamp. That might be worth looking at.
As long as it'll do stereo line in.
Well, that's what I'm looking for. I don't see. I don't know. I can't tell if it has line in or not. It's a microphone. It's a Tascam stereo microphone. It'd be great if it had a line in port, but
Yeah, exactly. Because the Papaya Broadcaster is, it's kind of a neat program. The idea, it's one of the only ones I found that, and I'm visually impaired, and I use voiceover software, and the software is very accessible with voiceover. So,
well, I tell you, there is a program like Papaya for the Mac, and I'm sure there are many for Windows as well. There's one called IceCast. You could run on the Mac and use the line in on the Mac.
That's true. That's true. I have access to a MacBook Air, so I could do that. The idea was with the iPhone, it's so small, it's portable, and if I had to use
you could have a radio station in your iPhone.
Exactly, in your pocket, and I have tiny little. I've got a Pile little mixer. If I was going to use a computer, I've got a little netbook with the Pile, which is a USB mixer, and use some kind of streaming client to send audio to the server. But with the phone, it would just be so much smaller and less things to carry. As you know from just coming back from NAB, all the equipment you have to lug.
How about this? This is from Line 6. They make some neat stuff. Mobile in audio interface for iOS with mobile pod app. Looks like this might be exactly what you're looking for.
Okay.
It looks like, well, I don't know. I mean, we'll keep looking, and we'll put some of these in the show notes for you at techguylabs.com. It's hard for me to tell. Mobile in digital input adapter. It looks like people are starting to make these. The problem is you got to make sure it works with an iPhone 4. This is for connecting your guitar, so it has a phono jack out. What I'd like to know is if it has a line jack in. Maybe it does. I'll have to see if I can. If this exists, there must be some other stuff. Oh, yeah, there's the Apogee Jam. Same people will make the Apogee mic. Studio quality guitar input for iPad, iPhone, and Mac. I think this might work. It's a little pricey, $100. I would look at that. The Apogee mic really works well. This is called the Jam. It's a digital connector to iOS and Mac. That's what you want, right? 8888 Ask Leo. We're going to take a break. When we come back, our next call will be Ava. Hang on, Ava, from Hermosa Beach. She wants to rename her internet. She wants to call it Charlie or Sally or Sam. I don't know. Kira in Ontario, California. She too has been having problems with Sprint. Oh, there's going to be the Sprint complaint show soon. And Jeff in Riverside wants to know about Epson printers and Linux. We'll talk about all of that. Now, when I have something to say and I want you to be able to remember it, we put them in the show notes, all the links and stuff. We collect the links from the chat room too, and you'll find that at techguylabs.com. Thanks to James DeRuvo, who's writing all that down. It's a good place to find audio and video for the show. Show notes from all 867 episodes, minus a few I took time off for. Links to our chat room and a whole lot more. techguylabs.com. We're going to take a break for your local news, and we will be back with more Tech Guy right after this. Stay here. Well, hey. How are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy, Hour 3 of the Tech Guy Show. We're taking calls at Talking Tech at 8888. Ask Leo if you've got a question. I'm sure we can answer it, and if I can't, well, I know somebody who can. That chat room. Thousands of brilliant people, well, 1,000 anyway, listening and watching and responding. And, in fact, we were able to track down for Stephen, I think, what he's looking for. Stephen, I hope you're still listening. It's from Fostex. They've been around for a long time. They made, I remember, multi-track cassette recorders a lot of musicians used to kind of record 4 tracks in the garage. They make something called the AR4i audio interface for iPhone 4. It is exactly what you want, which is an analog to digital converter. It comes with mics, but those are just connected mics to. It actually has 3 stereo inputs, line or mic level. So you could plug in those condenser mics that it comes with, but you can also use other mics or other line level inputs. So this is exactly what you want, I think, Stephen. The Fostex AR4i audio interface. It's $150 on Amazon. Sweetwater has it as well. Many other broadcast supply places. BSW, I'm sure. Ava in Hermosa Beach. You're next. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Hi, Ava.
Well, hi, Leo. Nice to talk with you.
Nice to talk to you. Thanks for calling.
I have DSL Extreme, and they had a major outage yesterday.
Oh, dear.
In Southern California.
These things happen sometimes.
I didn't know that because I didn't call their phone number.
You just were off.
But my modem was acting up, and my router was acting up. So what I did was I reset the button on my router.
You started from scratch.
Well, I kind of threw something in there to see what would happen.
That's a perfectly good thing to do.
Okay. Well, nothing good happened.
Well, if they're down, of course, it's not going to fix it. But now all your settings have been cleared.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my wireless network name is D-Link unsecured.
Right. Yeah. And all the security settings are off, and everything's been changed.
Okay.
So if do you know what the default password is?
Yes.
Okay, so you can get into the settings.
I don't know how.
So you open up your browser.
Okay.
You don't have the manual that came with it, do you? Because this will describe the process more accurately than I will.
I have a desktop and I have a laptop.
Yeah, but you don't have the manual that came with your D-Link, do you?
No.
Yeah.
I'm looking that up online.
Yeah. So you can do that. In fact, you can Google the D-Link and the model number and manual, and they'll have a PDF version of the manual. And in the manual somewhere, it will say how to access the router settings. It's probably opening your browser and going to a number, not an address, because you're going directly to the router. It has to be turned on, obviously. And it's probably, as I remember with D-Link, 192.168.0.1.
Yeah,
and you got that. And then it asks for a password, right? A login.
It just says that it's the default address.
Yeah.
That's the default address.
Yeah. And when you go there in your browser, it will then say log in. And I think with D-Link, it's just admin is the login, lowercase ADMIN, and the password, according to Robert SJ, Padre SJ in our chat room, is admin as well. So once you enter that,
where are you putting that Where are you putting that default number?
You put it in your browser. So you open up your browser.
Okay.
And instead of entering an address like Google.com, you enter in 192.168.0.1, and you're going to get a pop-up that says, what's the login and password? And that's why the manual is helpful, because it's different all the time. But I think the chat room is probably pretty accurate when they say it's admin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing it?
I'm doing it, but nothing's happening.
Okay. Well, we may have it wrong. because
but that's the procedure.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to enter it in as an address. It might be 192.168.1.1, not the. Well, you said you know what it is, so use that one.
That's what I'm using.
Yeah, 0.1 or 1.1. I think it's 0.1.
Oh, 0.1.
Well, use the one you got. Whatever. Sounds like you've got something.
I'm just going by whatever came up on the web page when I did a search. We call it noodling.
Noodling, yeah. So here's what I would search for: D-Link, the brand of the router, and the word manual. And there sometimes is a full manual and a quick setup manual. The quick setup manual is all you'd need. You would then do what it says, which is probably in the browser, and instead of an address, 192.168.0.1. Then if you do that correctly, seconds later, you'll get a pop-up that says login and password. You'll enter that. That'll get you into the router settings, and that's where you configure everything. Now, here's the most important part, and this is for everybody. When you set up a wireless router, you want to turn on WPA2 security. That's the encryption you want to use. WPA2 security. You want to turn off a couple of things. One is UPnP. The other is WLAN administration. Most of these will be off by default, but just in case, WLAN administration. And the third, and this is a new one because there's a security flaw in these routers, is WPS setup. That's all you need to do. It's probably a good idea, however, to change the default password that you just used, and probably a good idea also to change the name of the router. You wanted to change. That was actually why you called from D-Link. Yeah, change it to something that doesn't have your name and address in it, but something that you'll recognize. So change the name of the router, the login. You can leave an admin if you want, but give it a more secure password. Turn on WPA2 encryption with a strong password. That means as random as long as you can do and still remember it. Turn off three things: UPnP, WLAN administration, and WPS. We will put that in the show notes. This is the standard setup that everybody needs to do with all wireless routers. Doing that, however, good news is, will make that router as secure as a wired router. That's all you need to do, Ava. Those are the three things. What I can't tell you, because it's different all the time, is the default address and the default password. You'll have to figure out what those are. In future, when this happens, by the way, do not reset the router. You think you know now. Just unplug it and plug it in again. Unplug it, wait for a few seconds, then plug it in again. You don't want to do a full reset, which, as you can see, resets everything, including the passwords and all of that stuff. Kira's in Ontario, California, our next caller. Hi, Kira.
Hi, Dale. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. We're going to talk to you in just a second, because I hear you also have some Sprint problems. We'll talk in a second. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
0 hour, 9 a.m. And I'm going to be high as a kite. By then.
Is Bill Shatner. His edition of Rocket Man. I hate to interrupt it.
I miss the Earth so much.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Kyle Benham, once again. If you want any of the songs that Kyle plays during the show, and some of them are really great, some of them not, but some of them are really great. He does a playlist at the end of the show and puts it on his Google Plus account, KYLEBENHAM, or just go to our show notes because we'll put it there as well, techguylabs.com. I did a panel on Tuesday night on the future of television, and one of the guests on the panel was the great comic and actor Kevin Pollak. Oh, he's so good. He's been in so many movies. It was The Usual Suspects he was great in, A Few Good Men, and go on and on. But he does the best William Shatner. It's kind of mind-blowing. He's an impressionist as well, and Shatner is scary. It's very funny. Apparently, Kevin was telling me that he went to William Shatner has a one-man show, or had a one-man show on Broadway recently, and he invited Kevin Pollak to come backstage with him at the show. And at the end, during his curtain call, he brings Pollak out on the stage, and they're doing dueling Shatners. He says Kevin's got a new book coming out, How I Slept My Way to the Middle, be out later this year, and apparently in it, all the information you need about how to do a perfect William Shatner. And apparently William Shatner not only likes it so much, he's giving it to friends, and he said, so many people do bad impressions of me. I want them all to be good. So he's handing out he's handing out this book to tell people how to do an impression. Kira has been very patient. Thank you for holding on through those commercials, Kira. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, how are you?
Very well. So you having problems with Sprint?
Yeah, you know what happened was I had a BlackBerry Curve, and it was time for me to upgrade. So I upgraded to the Samsung Replenish. Then they sent me a contract out for a new 2 years, for another 2 years, but they had on there the BlackBerry Curve. So I called them and told them that they had the wrong phone. And I talked to like 7 different people, and they still couldn't resolve it. So they told me they couldn't send me out a new contract. There was nothing that they could do.
Oh, man.
So I wrote a letter to the corporate office here in California, to Dan Hesse. So
Good.
I'm waiting for them to get back to me.
Good. He's the CEO. He'll take care of you.
Did you guys have the address? Do you want the address?
Sure, why not? Dan Hesse's 9060
Irvine Center Drive.
Okay.
Irvine, California,
Yeah.
92610.
92610.
Yeah, and that's the number. That's the address to their corporate office.
And it's Dan Hesse's the CEO of Sprint. Well, good luck. I hope that works for you, Kira.
Leo, I have one problem with the phone, though.
What's that?
Maybe you can help me. The battery drains so fast.
Yeah,
what do you do in a situation
you're
like
kind of spoiled, unfortunately, with the BlackBerry because it would go several days.
that? Yeah, what?
Most of the current smartphones, I don't know about the Replenish specifically, should get you about 8 to 10 hours. You should be able to get through the day.
I can get through the day, but then
That's
before
normal.
it gets dark, it just dies.
Yeah, you want to get it through the day like the whole day, like till you go to bed.
Right.
You know, I don't know particularly about the battery life on the Replenish. It's not unusual for Android phones in general to get 8 or 9 hours, which sounds like you're getting. There are all sorts of things you can do to improve the battery life. Turn off GPS, for instance, if you're not using it. Turn off Bluetooth if you're not using it. Turn down the screen display a little bit. Of course, and Dr. Mom's pointing this out in the chat room, if you're in an area where you don't get great reception, the phone works harder, and that can drain the battery very quickly. I don't know if you've ever left the phone on an air flight. You're not supposed to, of course. But if by accident, not that I would ever do this, you leave the phone on as you're flying, the phone is working so hard hunting for cell sites as you fly over them that you'll kill the battery life in an hour or two. So it is possible to improve the battery life. What I almost always do with my smartphones, and you can't do it with an iPhone, unfortunately, and some of the newer Android phones you can't do it, but I always buy 2 or 3 batteries. My Galaxy Note, which is my preferred phone these days, I have 3 Galaxy Note batteries. I keep them all charged, and when it dies, I just pop in a new one. And then I have a little, USB desktop charger, so I can keep them all charged. It's very handy. But there are a few things you can do. Turn the display timeout to as low as you can live with it, 15 seconds. If you can live with that, that means that display goes dark if you don't do anything after 15 seconds. Turn the display brightness to automatic. Turn off Bluetooth. Turn off GPS. Those are the things that use most of the battery life. One of the great things I like about Android phones is there is, in the settings, a battery entry, and you can see what's been used in your battery life. And you can, if a particular program uses a lot of battery life, you can get rid of it. That'll help. Good luck, Kira. I hope Dan Hesse responds. In my experience has been if you go to the office of the CEO, very often you'll get relief in a way you wouldn't get it otherwise. Another way to do is, believe it or not, it's almost embarrassing, is Twitter. For some reason, companies respond. If you start tweeting that you're having a bad experience, companies are searching Twitter constantly to try to find customer service problems, and they often will solve them from Twitter. I've had great results doing that. You don't have to have a lot of followers. For some reason, they're just terrified somebody's going to say something bad about them on Twitter. I don't know why. Jeff in Riverside, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Leo. Thanks for taking my call. Long-time listener.
Thank you. Good to talk to you.
Been with you since you started, since the day you started on KFI, then started listening on XM, and now I'm watching you on TWiT.
Well, there you go. You have followed me around like a stalker.
That I have to tell you. When you like a radio guy, you have to support him.
Thank you.
And since I run Linux on the desktop, it's real hard to support you because a lot of the products that you advertise don't work well with Linux.
I know.
But
not just the products I advertise, just products in general. Printers are a big category. The good news about Linux is Linux supports something called CUPS, C-U-P-S. Okay. And CUPS is a third-party printer driver solution that works with most printers, including, I think, all Epson printers. So give this a try. Make sure you've got CUPS installed in your Linux box, and then look for the Epson drivers for CUPS.
Okay, so in other words, I can really go out and buy that printer you.
Well, I would check first.
Well, of course I'll check first.
I would check first, but yes, absolutely. That's one of the advantages of Linux is third-party support is quite good. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Crucial Wax in the chat room says, there is a William Shatner song in which he sings only one note, Bohemian Rhapsody, but it does sing one note. He says it through me. Jeff in Riverside, California. Oh, we talked to Jeff. He was the guy who wanted to run an Epson printer with his Linux. This is a problem in general with Linux. Linux is a great, by the way, I love it, free operating system. Free as in free, you don't have to pay any money, and free as in liberated, in the sense that no company owns it. Anybody can make a Linux version or update one or take an existing one and make it better because it's open source. And it's gotten pretty good over the years, still used by a very small number of people on the desktop, but you use it every day because most mail servers, most web servers, most of the servers that you use when you go on the internet are running on Linux. If you're in our chat room, you're using it right now. If you visit the Tech Guy Labs site, you're using it. Linux is everywhere when it comes to servers. But it also can be a good desktop operating system with this little exception, and that is many hardware companies don't make drivers. They don't make the software that's needed to run their hardware on a Linux desktop. And a lot of the programs that you're used to aren't available on Linux. I'll give you one, Microsoft Office. Now, because Microsoft Office has never been available on Linux, the open source community has created an open and free version of Office. There's actually quite a few. There's OpenOffice, there's LibreOffice, there's quite a few. But they're not Microsoft Office, and the quality is kind of spotty. There's other software areas where things are missing. It's really a hobbyist operating system, but it's cool. It's very cool. And often, because hobbyists use it, if, for instance, Epson doesn't make drivers, and they may, for all I know they may, but if they don't make drivers for the particular printer you want to use with your particular version of Linux, as chances are the community has stepped forward and is making those drivers. Diane in Santa Barbara, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Diane.
Hi, Leo. Hey, every once in a while I do an image search for celebrities or politicians or whatever, because I like to do sketches and stuff. But I just am amazed at how few pictures there are of them, and I think, God, with all the phones and stuff out there, how are they able to not have those on Google Image Search? Do they have some kind of agreement, or is there a filtering?
Well, let me just do a search. Give me a celebrity, because I just did a search for William Shatner, for instance, and there are 9.7 million images of William Shatner, young, old, medium. So, who is the celebrity that you can't find?
Oh, well, just one. I was just thinking like Rush Limbaugh, or just people that are, when they're out and about, you'd think, well, people would snap pictures and post them on, and they're not usually like ones you would see, that like candid ones. They're usually posed and stuff. So
well, okay. So I'll tell you kind of how this works. There is no way to keep anything off the internet, by the way, and there are companies like Reputation Defender who attempt to charge people to do that. You can't. It's the internet. It's free. It's open. You can be the FBI and you can try it, but you can't really. And it's not illegal to post pictures of somebody, especially if you own the rights to the pictures and the person is in public. They can't stop you. If somebody decides they don't like me, and believe me, there are those. I know it's hard to believe. But if somebody decides they don't like me, they can create a site that says LeoLaporteStinks.com. And there's nothing I can do to stop it, especially if you're a public figure. Now, there are rules against, of course, slander and libel. And if somebody is saying something false about you, you can sue them. It's often difficult to do because the internet is so anonymous. It's very difficult to figure out who's doing it in the first place. So really, I get this question this is the first time I've gotten the question from the angle of I'm looking for pictures and I can't find them. Usually it's vice versa. There's something about me on the internet I hate. I don't want to see it anywhere. Please help me. And when I hear that, I say, there isn't much you can do. There's no magic that Rush Limbaugh has pulled to keep pictures of him off the internet. In fact, I see 52.2 million results in Google image search that say Rush Limbaugh. So, in fact, I think there's plenty of them. There are some issues. For instance, the very first picture I find is his official portrait. The one with him smoking a cigar. Somebody owns the rights to that. Not Rush Limbaugh, probably the photographer who took the picture, but you can't just use that picture. And you may remember a guy named Shepard Fairey who got in a little bit of trouble. He made a poster of President Obama called Hope. Remember that? And got sued by the Associated Press photographer who took the original picture. And in fact, I think, let me just see, but I can't remember, but I think that lawsuit failed. Yeah, it was dropped. The Associated Press dropped the lawsuit because that was considered kind of fair use of a picture. So what you want to do, which is illustrate from a photo, is probably protected by fair use. But I'd be a little careful. It'd be best to use photos of Rush Limbaugh that are licensed to be used. The Creative Commons, the photographer may say, you can use these freely if you give attribution. If you go to Flickr, FLICKR.com, one of the things I like about Flickr is they say right next to each photo what the rights are, what the legality is. Let me just see if there's some Rush Limbaugh pictures on Flickr. I bet there are a few. And then if you find a Rush Limbaugh picture on Flickr, FLICKR.com, then you can see a picture let's say you want to do an illustration, you can check and see if that picture is licensed. Now, on the license on this one, for instance, all rights reserved. That means you'd have to buy it from the photographer. But if I can find another one that is not licensed that way, you can use it. Sometimes it'll say attribution must be given, or you can use it freely as long as you don't make money on it. Here's so you got to be a little careful about what you use. I'm seeing quite a few pictures from candid pictures of Rush Limbaugh. Here he is addressing the Heritage President's Club meeting. Here's a picture of a blimp. I don't know why that's showing up there. I think if you want to use a picture, check who owns it. Make sure you're allowed to use it. And if your illustration changes it significantly, I think you probably are in the clear anyway. But I would look at that Shepard Fairey AP lawsuit, because that's quite a famous lawsuit of an artist taking an existing picture, modifying it somewhat significantly to make a poster. And there was a lawsuit filed over that, although it was dropped eventually. And as for keeping your stuff off the internet, my best suggestion is make sure you put stuff on the internet that's your portfolio. That's your stuff that you blog, that you post, so that when people search for your name, they find what you put up there as opposed to what somebody else put up there. That's the best defense. In fact, that's what companies like Reputation Defender do. The only way they can really do it is by putting more stuff up that's positive, so that when somebody searches for you, at least they find that. You can always put more stuff on the net. It's very hard to put less stuff on the net. Very hard to get stuff off the net. 8888 Ask Leo. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Your last live read is going to be Carbonite.
I kind of asked for it, didn't I?
You did.
It's kind of predictable.
Picture yourself in a boat on a river with tangerine.
Now, I truly think that that Bill Shatner knew how silly he sounded. If he didn't, he was getting very poor representation.
With kaleidoscope eyes.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. There was a great, Rhino Records did a great couple of albums. I don't know if they ever got to the CDs. I guess they did, of celebrity songs. Because I guess when you're a hot TV celebrity, somebody comes along and says, you should do an album. So Leonard Nimoy's done one. Shatner's done one. There's just a ton of those. But enough of that. Did you ever do one, Mr. Dick DeBartolo, Mad Magazine's maddest writer? Were you ever?
I did not, but Rhino did an album called Mad Tracks.
Rhino does great stuff.
A long time ago, and they took like 7 or 8 of those vinyl records that used to be in Mad Specials and put out an album.
Wow.
Yeah, so Rhino Records was good for getting really weird stuff.
Yeah.
And putting it on CD.
Yeah. The Golden Throats was the name of the. I think there was 2 or 3 records. Now, see, the problem is I don't know if they survived into the digital age. Maybe they did. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's entirely possible Mad Tracks took them out.
Right. Hey, wait a minute. No, there they are on Amazon.com.
Okay,
They
good.
have 4 Golden Throats. Yeah, Mad Tracks killed the company.
Yeah.
So Dick DeBartolo is here, Mad Magazine's maddest writer. We call him the Gizwiz because he's a gadget hound from way back, and he always brings us something fun to
and it's also good because my website is gizwiz.biz, so it all works together.
Yes, it's magic that way. What do you got for us?
All right, so you're going to Norway.
I am.
Yes. What's the weather going to be like
it's
there?
It's going to be very chilly.
Oh, okay. Well, I know you have one of these, and my guess is you're not going to take it to Norway. It's from our friend Scotty Vest.
Yes.
And it is the Transformer.
Oh, no, I am.
I am.
In fact, I am going to bring all Scott E-Vest clothing because they have these pockets and stuff which make it, really great because you could load the pockets up. And then when you get, you go through security, you just take off the jacket, you put it on the belt, and that's fine. They scan it. And so it's a great way to just, have all your stuff with you instead of putting it in the carry-on.
You can have tons of stuff and not pay for a checked
exactly.
bag. Well, yeah. Well, the newest one called the Transformer is really neat because when you go sightseeing, it's always chilly in the morning, and then you're sightseeing during the day, and it gets warmer and warmer, and you'd like to, shed some of your clothing. So you just pull on the sleeves.
Yes.
They instantly come off.
It's the weirdest thing. It's like breakaway clothing.
It is bizarre. You think first you think you're ripping the jacket, and then you figure, oh, they're off, but I don't see zippers, Velcro. There are 12 magnets around the shoulders. The 2 sleeves and the fabric bar across the back are all one piece. There's a special pocket in the jacket, one of the 20 pockets, that is big enough to take the sleeves and the other piece of material. There's another pocket big enough for an iPod.
See, this is so funny because I've had this Transformer for a month, and I never knew that there was a pouch to put the sleeves in.
Oh,
but
yeah. All the way.
I'll tell you why. I don't usually think of clothing as something you have to read the manual for.
Yeah. Well, the manual's in there, which is good, too.
Yeah.
So
one of the pockets has the manual.
Yes. They used to put like business card size things in every pocket and say, we suggest you use this pocket for this. Right. Well, now the eyeglass pocket or the sunglass pocket has a pull-out fabric diagram telling you where everything should go, but it's also a cleaning cloth, and it's also attached to a little lanyard.
So crazy.
It's very clever. It's very clever.
I love it. It's ScottEvest.com, SCOTTE, the letter EVEST.com. And I love their stuff. They're a little pricey. They're not inexpensive.
The Transformer jacket's $160. It comes in black, red, and gray. And you told me once a problem is, I have a solution for it, that your phone rings and you can't remember what pocket it is.
There's so many pockets on these things, you don't know where your stuff is.
Well, Leo, make your ringtone be, your phone is ringing, I'm in your third pocket on the right side behind.
But then you always have to put it in that pocket.
You do. Yeah, well, then otherwise the entire solution is out the window.
My ringtone is,
help, let me out of here. I'm in a jacket. I can't get out. Help me.
Right.
That'll really drive you
Your
crazy.
answer is, I am here, but my phone is in one of 20 pockets.
Yes.
And when I find it, I will call you back.
Let me play, because on the website he has a sound of the magnets.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's the strangest thing, because you would think once you take these sleeves off, and in older jackets, even their jackets, you had to zip them back on. And it was kind of complicated. This, you just put the sleeves on, and they just kind of snap into place.
Yes, you hear them, and you go, well, this can't be right. And then you go look in the mirror.
They're on.
And they're on, and it's in place. It's just amazing.
Yeah. I'm actually a big fan, but then I don't ever have to pay for this stuff. He just sends it to me.
Yeah, same.
I'm not sure. I probably have
mine came with stuff in every pocket.
Thousands of
now
dollars.
I do have an iPad. No, just kidding.
No payoffs. But I guess it's a payoff if he sends you this. I have Scotty Vest boxer shorts with a little pouch for your iPod.
You had me worried.
If you have a small iPod. It fits right in. Oh, my goodness. Let's go to gizwiz.biz now and stop thinking about that. GIZWIZ.biz. That's Dick's website, and, of course, where you can go to play. By the way, he does have show notes there for all the stuff he talks about, but that's where you can go play the What the Heck Is It game, a chance to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine. There are more prizes. I'll give you an idea. This tells you something about Dick. There are more prizes for the wrong answer than there are for the right answer.
Yes. The way it should be.
Yeah. GizWiz.
I wish the IRS would do it that way.
Yes. You paid your taxes.
More mistakes, the bigger the return.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
Dick, stick around. We're going to do the Weekly Daily GizWiz, our weekly podcast full of gadget delight in just a little bit. You might as well just stay here. You're frozen solid anyway, so it doesn't
I know.
Really
They're going to recall me.
Okay,
bye.
Thanks,
I've
Dick.
been recalled. By my maker.
Dick stopped moving, so he's being recalled. Good. I think that's a good idea. He's on Skype, and I have Skype video, and I can see that he's not moving, but those of you listening at home have no idea what we're talking about, and I understand how that is. Hey, let's go to Sweetwater, Texas. I love the name of that town. Wendell's on the line. Hi, Wendell.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome to the show.
Good. Listen to you all the time.
Thank you. What can I do for you?
Well, I have a VoIP called NetTalk. Are you familiar with it?
Sure. This is a voice over the Internet. Lets you make phone calls using your Internet connection.
Right. The one I've got works perfect, has been since the day I put it in, but I recommend it to my friends, and I have yet to get one that can get it set up and work right.
Yeah, they may not have sufficient bandwidth. One of the things about VoIP is you have to have a good Internet connection, and sometimes it's not even just download and upload speed. There's other issues as well. Are they on the same Internet service provider as you?
Oh, no. No, one of them is on DSL, and one of them is on a wireless network.
Yeah.
They're on different things.
Wireless will never work quite as well. I got to tell you that right now. Although the NetTalk is Wi-Fi, which is kind of neat. Do you have the NetTalk Wi-Fi version?
No, I've got the original.
Yeah. They may have tried the Wi-Fi, and that may work less well, because that's not even connected. I find hard wiring always works better. And this is the problem with voice over the Internet in general, is the results vary considerably depending on your bandwidth. Be glad you got it working, Wendell. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.